Good Sunday evening, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center right now, trying to give you the very latest on a tornado emergency that's been issued here over the last few moments in parts of Oklahoma. Not really expecting a huge tornado risk today, but unfortunately here seeing something take a turn for the worst as we're looking toward Custer City. So for perspective, this is a little bit here west of the Oklahoma City metro area, at least, so not in the most populated area, just in terms of, in terms of like the most densely ones, but still Custer City potentially being impacted here over the next few moments as we're looking at things. I know it's kind of a tricky view on radar right now as they're trying to get the best view. Let me just double check, make sure. It looks like this radar now has the better view of it. So let me go ahead and jump over here. So a tornado emergency for Custer City. Let me go ahead and jump that on your screen here so you see what I'm talking about. So again, a tornado emergency here in play at this point there in Oklahoma. I know, just tracking the situation there, looking off the Frederick, Oklahoma radar. Earlier on, you can see some of that rotation further out toward the west, and it started verifying here and moving in the direction there of Custer City. Again, still not the greatest radar coverage even from this vantage point, but I just need to get folks in the center, potentially a catastrophic situation here. I know the debris tracker is going to have a hard time at points trying to figure this out, but weather spotters are always seeing a real problem here, potentially threatening Custer City in Oklahoma. Again, a catastrophic tornado possible, particularly dangerous situation there in Custer County, and just got to really take this very, very seriously. Moving east at 30 miles an hour, very heavy rainfall in this area, some big hail as well, I would think, as we're kind of looking at things. Maybe the hail could be, 2.5 inches or so in diameter. So that's something to really take into consideration as we're looking at things here in Oklahoma. Again, a tornado emergency for Custer City there. Potentially catastrophic tornado. So move to an interior room or really a basement or storm shelter would be your best move here. Protect yourself from flying debris by putting on a bicycle helmet, a football helmet, or a baseball helmet even. So very important to take these steps here, and some of these kind of vary. Of course, if you're in an underground shelter, you may not have to do all those in terms of getting the baseball helmet on, but still, take this very seriously here in the world of Oklahoma right now. Again, a tornado emergency is on the board. This is not something we're really looking at being too likely today. I know just kind of looking at the grand scheme of things, I'll go ahead and say this is a 2% tornado risk. This is on the edge of. That's very rare to have a tornado emergency for that low of a tornado risk. However, this is also an area that has a pretty high wind risk here, just in the vicinity at least, and hail in the vicinity. But it's still not overwhelming. But I know you do have a PDS severe thunderstorm watch there. We were expecting considerable wind damage as we've been seeing toward parts of Kansas here, and destructive winds up in toward parts of Kansas today. I know still the numbers aren't adding up to anything like what remains in Texas yet, lower population density. But let me go ahead and zoom out here real quick. I know we have some problems around Wichita, Kansas here as well. Wichita, Kansas, some problems up in that area. Let me go ahead and go here this way. I know, just zoom up in toward this area here and try to give you the very latest. They're in that PDS severe thunderstorm watch, but then they're under a destructive severe thunderstorm warning. It was for 80-mile-an-hour winds. Now it's been increased to 90-mile-an-hour winds. So that's becoming a real problem here too. So let's kind of split the coverage a little bit then, since that's really a type of range we would need to come in for anyway. Moving into a metro with the warning actually saying that. So let's go ahead and jump up over there right now and see here. These potentially could be 90-mile-an-hour winds headed in toward the Wichita area. I know you see some of these back out toward the west kind of being involved here, and they're not all completely together, which is interesting to me, but just overall some concern. A tornado warning there north of Wichita proper as well in Harvey County, Kansas, but Sedgwick County and Wichita, that's where you have The biggest danger here right now, where you have some winds maybe to 90 miles an hour of possibilities. So take this situation seriously, as it's a life-threatening one. Flying debris may be deadly to those called out shelter. Mobile homes will be heavily damaged or destroyed. Homes and businesses will have substantial roof and window damage, and expect extensive tree damage and power outages, according to the Weather Service. So that's a significant severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Sedgwick and Harvey counties there in Kansas. You see these winds aloft, these brighter colors indicative of that, and I was trying to get down toward the surface. But let's get back to our tornado emergency in Oklahoma, Custer County. And this was not really expected, the tornado emergency part. The wind threat, kind of, we were seeing a moderate risk there today. And PDF severe thunderstorm watch. But this tornado emergency was not really anticipated here for today. Debris tracker not showing it very well right now, which may be a good sign. But the tornado emergency still stands under the spotter. They've really been seeing some of this here over the last little bit. TV news spotters and the like, indicating the concern here for Custer City and Custer County, Oklahoma. So again, that's kind of the story right now. Again, a catastrophic threat there in toward parts of Oklahoma. Very large hail in here as well. This is in western Oklahoma to be precise, but I mean, as you kind of look at things here, it's not all that far from those metro counties. I mean, even Canadian County is getting closer to Oklahoma City, and that's not that far away from that, but it's a little bit further out in theory here as we're looking at things. So, again, just trying to give you the very latest here to protect you, your friends, and your family. Again, luckily the debris tracker didn't pick it up on this, like a lot of tornado emergencies, it would be picked up on debris tracker, so at least that's a little bit of good news. But you have the hook here. It's right around Custer City, the rotation. It's hard to see exactly where it is because we're kind of so far up with the radar view. I mean, there are a couple different areas, really, and making it tough to tell. We might have had some of the worst just go through town, but it's kind of hard to say because of where we're at here. With this viewpoint being 8,000 feet up or so. So again, just trying to give you the very latest there toward Oklahoma. Again, potentially catastrophic damage there toward Custer County. So again, around Custer City to be precise here, as we're just trying to effort all the latest information. Again, potentially catastrophic damage. So again, just gonna keep looking here, gonna keep tracking. Again, really nasty situation. Really nasty stuff. I'm just trying to get more updates to kind of look back here at this. So no, I'm just trying to figure exactly the important details out for you guys at home. Again, tornado emergency in Custer City there in Oklahoma, a national story we had to break in for because of the magnitude of it. We're always on for the tornado emergencies, which are really the highest level of warning you can have in terms of severe weather. So, I mean, it's right up there with, just the worst of the worst. Granted, some of these don't verify to that level, but some of them, a lot of them do. I mean, it's right up there with your, biggest warnings there. Is a tornado emergency up there with, those hurricane warnings, those high wind, or no, back that up, extreme wind warning. I'm sorry. So your hurricane warnings, your extreme wind warnings, and then also just your tsunami warnings. So again, just really watching this here very carefully. A lot of hail toward the city of Thomas in Oklahoma. So that's something they're really having a big concern with, I'm sure. Going to cause a lot of damage, probably some pretty big hail. Again, this is right on the edge of a 2% tornado risk. You don't get that very often here, my friends. So let's go ahead and just keep looking here. I mean, I don't think this is going to hold together all the way toward Oklahoma City. I mean, again, there's your hail risk, and then there's your tornado risk. It's not even toward Oklahoma City or wind risk. Again, this is a real surprise developing where this is. I mean, we weren't expecting to get strong tornadoes today. I know there are some higher tornado parameters to the north. and toward Wichita for that matter, but that's a more linear activity, so that's why that's precluding us harder and just more intense type of tornado threat. So again, just trying to give you the very latest here, trying to give you the latest updates. Under Wichita, some really nasty winds headed in there in the middle of Sedgwick counties, most populated area. Of course, that's Wichita, the Mid-Continent Airport. You kind of get the idea here. Those winds coming on into the picture as we're looking up toward Wichita and Sedgwick County right now. Again, an extremely dangerous wind scenario there. I mean, we're on for the tornado emergency in Oklahoma, but these are winds here that, according to the service at least, could be reaching upward to 90 miles an hour heading into Ward Town. After size hail as well, and that could be, where we have wind-driven hail to some degree, but 90-mile-an-hour winds here, that's a concern. That's definitely a concern there that can really be, problematic for folks. So again, I just gotta keep giving you the latest updates here. So again, extremely dangerous winds headed into Wichita. I know velocities aren't matching up quite right. I'm gonna check the terminal radar. Terminal Doppler from the airport. I mean, we're getting a little bit more of that on here, so at least, right in there, that's the type of wind that caused problems. It doesn't look as widespread as maybe what the warning suggesting, but it still is going to be very dangerous. It doesn't look as bad as Houston or Tallahassee right now, though, just for perspective, with those extreme wind events lately. Doesn't mean it couldn't turn into that for Wichita, but right now it doesn't look like it's to those levels, that level, really. But again, we're going to keep watching that. Back to the tornado emergency, back to the Frederick, Oklahoma radar, and around Custer City. Okay, they've dropped the tornado emergency now. Okay, that's good news. Okay, the tornado emergency has been dropped now, according to the Northern office. Okay, that's really good news. They're now going all the way down to radar indicated tornadoes. So that's what we like to see here. The tornado emergency, not the storyline anymore. It dropped all the way to the lowest level of tornado warning. But tennis ball size hail is still a threat down there. I mean, you see these black colors here on Doppler radar indicative of very significant hail concerns. So that's something they have to watch down there still. But so we don't need to stay on the air for that. I actually think we need to stay on the air a little longer for Wichita. Let's just see how this kind of plays out in the next few minutes. Because these are extremely dangerous winds, according to the service, coming on in here in toward Wichita. So 90-mile-an-hour winds is what they have. This axis moving east at 70. I know the storms toward Tallahassee and Houston, they were moving very fast as well. That can help play a role in getting some of the more dangerous wind down toward the surface. So, these worst of the winds are headed toward, it looks like I-235, for instance, here. You see around St. Mark's here in Kansas. They're getting into some of the action. They're getting in toward some of this danger here. So, again, this is in Kansas now. The tornado emergency has been dropped there in Oklahoma, which is some great news there. That tornado emergency for Custer County no longer in play. So that's some promising news. So we're just going to keep looking at things. I'll go back down there again just to double check. Still got some pretty intense rotation on the Doppler perspective, but nothing's been confirmed here in the last few moments. Earlier on it was confirmed. It's very serious, though. But let's get back up toward the Wichita radar again. We have a lot of wind around Newton, Kansas, with a radar indicated tornado threat. We even have a debris signature in there. It's hard. I don't know. That's a weird look on there, but nonetheless, just nasty conditions. If not actually something in there, because that's kind of an odd spot there on the radar. But nonetheless, some really nasty winds up there. Tornado-like damage more likely around Newton, Kansas, probably, than around Wichita right now. If it's not even, it could even be a tornado. But again, just going to keep looking at things and are bouncing between our different perspectives here. Trying to give you the latest to protect you, your friends, and your family. Again, we're at, it looks like 8 o'clock Central Time right now. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center, jumping on the air. 9 o'clock in the east, and we don't really have anything too crazy in our local area. across our 62 counties. We've just had some thunderstorm activity here on and off, but no warnings. We're not on for anything local. It's because the national scenario got so intense with a tornado emergency around Custer City, Oklahoma, but that's been dropped now, that type of wording. The catastrophic damage potential, but now toward Kansas is Wichita and Sedgwick County. We have some real high wind damage concerns. Could have hurricane force winds coming in there with maybe up toward 90 miles an hour around Wichita. So that's cause for concern there. Very highly populated area starting to move on in now. Some of these strongest winds. Let's get back to the terminal airport radar here to see if we can see anything better. I know a lot of the wind looks like it's back behind, which makes me think it's not as organized and enough here to produce those winds, you know, on that 90-mile-an-hour level in many spots. But we did have a gust of 86 in Hutchinson. Let's check the timing. I know is that. Okay, let me see here. That was at 40 past the hour. So let's see how velocity and radar correlated back then. Okay, so that was, well, that's 36 there. Yeah, that was really strong on velocity, and it was strong on reflectivity in that timeline too. Granted, that looks like it could have been almost on the back side a little, as we're kind of trying to match things out, but it looked more organized then. But it could be also we're getting obscured viewpoints here from the radar. Let's see what they issued off to the east here. This is going to be 90 mile an hour warning still, so they're not dropping that life-threatening type of tagging with this. So don't want you to let your guard down either. Then you need to treat this like a tornado around Wichita right now in Sedgwick County. They did have a gust there around 80 miles an hour in Kingman County there around Kingman. So we do have a lot of history with these storms here. This area of storms. Those hurricane force type of gusts. So you gotta act like there could still be hurricane force gusts in there around Wichita. Let's go back. I know we're right at the radar. That makes it harder to see stuff. I'm gonna go up a little. I mean, it's kind of back behind, really. I mean, which is a little interesting. Back on the back edge. So even if you think you're getting through some of that heavy rain initially here, still be kind of careful even for this back edge in case things kind of catch you off guard. I mean, just in case here. Kind of think the strongest winds would be where this is bowing out a little bit, so maybe Park City's getting them a little worse. That would just be the common meteorology line of thinking there, that the stronger winds would be where this is kind of bowing out, and they wouldn't be quite as strong down toward Wichita proper, but you can't lay your guard down there in that area. So, again, kind of the storyline right now. Gonna stick on here just a few more minutes with this. Again, we had to start for the emergency in Oklahoma, but sticking on for what's going on in Kansas right now. I'm effort in, see if we have any information right now. I know we did have a tornado around Custer City earlier on. At least it looks like at least I know 4 miles west of Butler, to be precise, is where the greatest concern was. That was confirmed earlier on. And let me check this here. So again, the Wichita office, just going through some additional supplemental details here behind the scenes right now, just to see exactly kind of where we're at with the situation. Just trying to make sure you're staying safe. Coming right through Wichita, some really strong winds, 90-mile-an-hour gusts, not out of the question here as we're looking at this scenario. Again, reading over information that got to 64 at Newton Airport here in the last couple moments. 59-mile-an-hour gust there in Sedgwick County about 10 minutes ago. Okay, so that's kind of the information along those lines that are noteworthy. Informational details. It looks really nasty around Newton there. Newton, Kansas. Looks like they're probably in a more serious scenario with some rotation there. And some strong winds back behind. I mean, that does kind of, it's weird how that extends, but they don't even have a warning back there. So, again, it's kind of interesting, the overall pattern Harvey County, Kansas. Gust to 72, an off-duty NWS employee measured 72 miles an hour, or 1 mile west-southwest of Whitewater. So that's kind of information there. That's worth noting for sure. So, still trying to give you updates here. Again, really nasty conditions right around Wichita right now, and going back toward Goddard and Garden Plain and just some of the other communities in there. So again, just be really careful in Wichita. This is some nasty, dangerous, destructive type of weather coming on through. Let's check our tornado situation again when we had the tornado emergency earlier on. Still some rotation with it, but it's not as defined as it was earlier on. Better indicated tornado. 7 miles north of Weatherford, moving east at 30 miles an hour. As we'll go back up to Kansas. I see a gust here at the airport in the 50s, 52 miles an hour. So power lines down there around the community of Bentley and Sedgwick County. Okay, that's just coming on in as we're looking at things. So still nasty weather around Wichita. It may be getting a 90 in some places, 90 miles an hour, though. Hopefully many places are avoiding those type of really destructive type of wind speeds. So, again, dangerous situation for Wichita. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up for now, I think. But nasty weather could cause a lot of power outages downstream as we're looking to where areas like, it would seem, Chase and Butler and in central Kansas, Marion County there as well. So, got to be careful with that. Even, just as we're looking at things, this causing some big concern. And a 70, 80 mile an hour winds estimated by the Whitewater Fire Department in Butler County. Oh, that's right on that leading edge then. Yeah, that's where it'd make more sense that you have the problems. Again, where that's bowing out, you would likely have the stronger winds actually getting down toward the surface. And that's what we're getting information in on, that's the case. So, again, nasty weather causing power outages there, I know. I just want to be careful with these, after what happened in Houston, of course, and earlier in Tallahassee. This looks a little bit lower in terms of the overall destructive wind nature right through a major city, but I mean, those, were situations that were anomalies. Even, this is still pretty serious toward Wichita. So, really destructive potential is there, but again, I don't think it's going to be to the level we saw in Tallahassee and in Houston here in the last week or so, but still got to be really careful there in that part of Kansas, so, towards south central Kansas. So, again, that's going to do it for now. Thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me. I'll leave you with the Oklahoma storm again, since that's what we came on for. Still watch the Oklahoma City metro because of the population density there, but hopefully that'll start to kind of weaken on out to some extent, at least, as it gets on off of it. Hopefully it'll weaken all the way, but I mean, as we kind of look at things here, and then let me look at our latest risk areas, see if those have been changed a little bit, see if we've had any changes. Has the newest outlook even come out yet? Let me see here. I mean, they haven't sent out the newest update, have they? Okay, well, they're trying to get everything together because it kind of changed around the situation, did a little bit. So, definitely nasty there. We're kind of looking at things. Again, thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me. I'll be back here if and as needed. Hopefully we won't have to come back, but I'm watching, I'm tracking. Facebook, Casey Cloud WX, Cloud Weather. Twitter /X at Cloud Casey. YouTube at Cloud Weather. Twitch Cloud Weather, and then cloudweather.com has a bunch of different links there, including just on the regular old tab there for that interactive radar. So, That's helpful too. Getting reports of extensive tree damage there in around Newton and Harvey County, Kansas, with multiple roads blocked. That's reported courtesy, according to Weather Service, from AccuWeather there. So, yeah, just watching up in North Kansas as well, around Newton. Having some problems there. Just having some issues in toward that region here, in toward Kansas. Definitely a problem for those folks. Problematic weather in Oklahoma as well. So it's been a busy evening here for some folks across the country, but that'll do it for now.